If you think James Bond games are just going to be another series of scripted action sequences, think again. 007. First Light looks like it's aiming to reinvent what it means to become the world's most famous secret agent. Instead of throwing players into the shoes of an already legendary Bond, this game takes us back to the very beginning, showing us how James Bond earns his iconic 007 status. And judging by everything we've seen so far, this could easily become one of the biggest action-adventure games for Bond fans in years. From intense hand-to-hand combat to high-tech spy gadgets, cinematic stealth, explosive shootouts, and stunning visuals, 007 First Light seems to blend classic Bond style with modern gameplay design. So today we're breaking down everything you need to know about the game, including its story, combat, stealth mechanics, gadgets, weapons, exploration, graphics, enemy AI, and why this feels completely different from any James Bond game we've played before. One of the biggest surprises about 007 First Light is its fresh take on the Bond universe. Instead of adapting one of the movies or continuing an existing storyline, this is a completely original adventure created specifically for gaming. Players won't be stepping into the shoes of the experienced, confident Bond we all know from the films. Instead, this is a younger James Bond at the beginning of his career, before becoming the legendary MI6 agent recognized around the world. That alone changes the tone dramatically. Rather than portraying Bond as an unstoppable super spy from the very first mission, the game appears to focus on his growth. Every mission feels like another step in proving himself worthy of the coveted 00 designation. It's an origin story that allows developers to explore Bond's personality, his decision-making, and the mistakes that shape him into the iconic agent fans know. Without diving into spoiler territory, the story revolves around Bond being recruited into dangerous international operations that quickly spiral into global conspiracies. Players can expect secret organizations, undercover missions, betrayals, high-stakes espionage, and plenty of unexpected twists. Everything shown so far suggests a narrative filled with cinematic storytelling that captures the feeling of a modern spy thriller, rather than simply copying the formula of past Bond films. Now, let's talk about what really matters: the gameplay. Combat in 007. First Light looks incredibly dynamic. Instead of relying purely on gunplay, the game combines multiple styles of combat into a seamless experience. During one encounter, you might silently take down a guard, steal his weapon, sneak through another room, and then suddenly find yourself in an intense firefight after your cover is blown. Gunfights appear to have a satisfying balance between realism and cinematic action. Weapons feel impactful, enemies react convincingly to being hit, and the environments seem designed to support tactical movement, rather than simply standing behind cover and shooting. Players can move aggressively or carefully, depending on the situation, giving every encounter a sense of freedom. But what really stands out is how physical the combat feels. Bond isn't a superhero. He relies on skill, quick thinking, and improvisation. The animations shown in trailers emphasize fluid movement between shooting, dodging, vaulting over obstacles, and transitioning directly into close-quarters combat. That constant momentum helps every encounter feel like something straight out of a blockbuster action movie. Speaking of close combat, melee encounters appear to play a much bigger role than in previous Bond games. Instead of simple button prompts or repetitive takedowns, fights look more choreographed and brutal. Bond uses punches, elbows, knees, throws, environmental objects, and disarming techniques to overpower opponents. Some sequences even resemble scenes from modern spy action films, where every room becomes part of the fight itself. Stealth is another major pillar of the experience, and honestly, it might be one of the game's biggest strengths. Unlike many action games where stealth feels optional, 007. First Light appears to encourage players to think like an actual intelligence operative. Staying hidden, observing enemy patrols, disabling security systems, and infiltrating restricted areas all seem to play an important role throughout missions. The trailers showcase Bond quietly moving through heavily guarded compounds, using shadows for concealment, sneaking behind enemies for silent eliminations, and carefully avoiding surveillance cameras. Rather than simply eliminating every guard, players may choose to bypass enemies entirely, creating a much more authentic spy experience. Enemy awareness also looks fairly sophisticated. Guards don't simply stand still waiting to be defeated. They communicate with teammates, investigate suspicious noises, search missing pole.
I've lost sight of him.